And good afternoon. Welcome to another office hours for the FastStore beta. My name is Victor, and I'm a software engineer here at VTEX. I'm currently working on the FastStore team, and I'll also be your host for today's event. So, without further ado, let's get started. Awesome. So, our first section for today is the announcement section, as always. And in this section, we'll be bringing you the latest news from the team to always keep you up to date with what we've been working on. Maybe even some cool events coming up. We had the hackathon a few months back, so we'll keep you posted on that. Or sometimes just ask you for some feedback, which is the case today. our only announcement for today is that we've just released the feedback form regarding the development experience on FastStore. So please scan the QR code or go straight to the URL that you see on the slide. Or you can also find the link to this form in this video's description on YouTube. And if you're watching this later, the link will also be there. But please tell us a bit about it's super quick. It has, if I'm not mistaken, it has like 2 questions, so it should be pretty quick to fill out, and it helps us a ton to see like what are the issues that you're facing while working with FastStore, what we could do better, and everything. Like, again, just I always like to remind everyone that we're on beta, right? Like the beta word means something. So as much as you can give us in feedback, it helps us a lot. So there you go. Please fill out the form. Okay, so very quick announcements for today. That was the only one. And if you always want to keep up with everything that we've been working on, make sure to check out faststore.dev/releases. Usually, like, things come out there before we bring them here to the office hours, so you might even get ahead of us a little bit. So there you go. Keep your eyes on that. Awesome. So on to the next section. This is the Ask the Community section. And this section is all about you. Like, this is made for our developer community. And this is where we bring some of your questions from VTEX Community here to the office hours so that we can give more in-depth answers and more people get to see them. And we also get to invite some cool people to come here and answer those questions. And all right, let's go with the first question. This one is about one of the greatest fears of front-end developers now that Internet Explorer is kind of dead, right? So now we have something else to be worried about, which is Safari. And well, Felipe is here to tell us a bit more about like the question about things not working properly on Safari, right?
Yeah, hello everyone. Do you mind sharing my screen? I got the same questions, but maybe I can show a little bit more. So we had this question from Becky, and basically she was questioning if FastStore had some kind of configuration to make it work on iOS devices. And she was having some problems, like she was testing on desktop and the story was fine. But when she was testing on the iOS, suddenly the site didn't work. So she shared some error messages that were logged to the console. And luckily, she provided the URL for the site that she was having this issue. So we knew, like at the start, we knew that we didn't actually have any kind of configuration to make FastStore work, or our starters work on specifically for iOS. So what I did was I entered, I visited the link that she was having the issue, and I took a look at the errors on the console, and I just instinctively started searching for the errors that were being logged to the console. And this error in particular, this syntax error, invalid regular expression, I was able to find this question on Stack Overflow about this error. And basically, in the answers, it mentioned that this errors is common in Safari, because this is a feature that is not yet available on Safari. So there's this feature, like this regex feature called positive look ahead, that is not available on Safari yet. So I then proceeded like investigating the like on the console error. There is always the link to the file that's causing the error. So I opened it up. Uh, um, and of course, the file was minified. That's usually how production files are served on production. But I was able to just run a quick prettifier to format the code better. And on the console log, it also mentions the. I'm not sure if I think in this case it didn't mention the exactly line in line character line in column, but I think I was able to actually did mention the line where the error was coming from. So I was able to track down to just this symbol, this regex symbol, and then was able to see that there's this script on their website that is using this feature, this new feature that Safari doesn't support yet, and that's what probably was happening. Like she was probably, I'm assuming that she was testing on desktop, like on Chrome, but or some other browser like Firefox. She was the browser wasn't triggering this error, but when she was on iOS, she was probably testing on Safari. So that's why she was this caused an error in the script, and sometimes these errors can cascade and make others scripts not work. And obviously, I couldn't really figure out what this code specifically was doing because it was minified and obfuscated. And just so you can see the Stack Overflow question that I found, it was this one. It mentioned specifically the error that she mentioned on the console, and it wasn't not even this like a typical Stack Overflow answer, but here on the comments, you can see that there's this look ahead that I mentioned, this feature that isn't supported on Safari yet. Here you can see that I think it's a link to Can I Use, which is a site that you can basically look for browser compatibility for features. And here we can see that here on Safari on iOS, it's not supported. So that's how I found out that maybe this could be the problem. And yeah, basically what I suggest her to do here was to find out another way of trying to use this not this feature because it's not possible, but there could be another way to do what she wants in a different way, in a way that Safari and other browsers can understand. So that's what I suggested here. I wasn't able to actually look what was this way, but I think there should be probably a way to do that differently in a way that is supported by Safari. So that was basically it. Yeah.
Awesome. That was pretty great, and it was a pretty tricky problem as well, right? Like it's
Yeah.
it's specific to Safari because it doesn't support that feature, and I would go as far as say that that's not a very used feature. So yeah, but
Yeah, and like when I mentioned the answer was really like in the small comments for the Stack Overflow, so it wasn't even an answer.
Yeah.
Just a quick comment. I've used positive look behind before, and it's one of those things where, you're trying to have a regular expression for you to match a specific portion of text. That's like you need to go through the text and then go back to make sure that it actually matched to a certain extent. So it's useful. It's really super useful. But like if it's not supported in Safari, I guess the way is you have to find another way, and maybe it's just like a more naive string search, not using regular expressions, but just literally going through the strings and trying to implement positive look behind on your code, right? Sorry
Yeah.
to just jump in, but I thought I wanted to share.
No, that was great. That was great. Thanks. Oh, and yeah, just also a quick note that like she or he specifically said Safari iOS, right? But I'm pretty sure that it would have the same issue on Mac because like it's they're both not supported, right? So you would have the same issue on Safari whenever on both desktop or mobile. So I mean,
Can I
that's
use
not something that.
that?
Yeah, Can I use is very useful for that. And it's also a great recommendation for everyone, right? Like if you've never used the caniuse.com, that's a great resource to find out if okay, this feature that I'm trying to use, is it supported? Is it not supported? Like does Internet Explorer support it? Everything like it's great. It's great. And it's very up to date as well. So
It's always a judgment call, right? Like, is it worth your time to implement for that specific browser? Like, use
yeah.
Google Analytics, try to figure out like what percentage of your store visitors use it, and if it's worth it, do it. But I mean, Google
Yeah, of course.
the world, I guess.
Of course, yeah, because there are some pretty niche browsers as well, right? Like Opera Mini, and then you would look like, oh, okay, 0.001% of my users come from Opera Mini. It's maybe not worth it. Yeah, but I mean, iOS Safari is probably a bigger chunk than that. So
Yeah, especially for those premium users that use iPhone, right?
yeah, sure. So yeah, that's great. That's great. Thanks, Philippe. Thanks, George, for
No
also
problem.
complimenting. And that's what we had for this question in particular. But you will notice that this was like the only question that we brought into this section, and well, that's partially because we didn't have that much time to actually stop and like look into more questions, but we also had a very hard time actually selecting questions that we wanted to bring to the office hours, and or like there were some questions that we could use, but like the questions were lacking a bit of context. So like we needed to have that classic loop of you make a question and then we just make another question to you say, can you provide more details? So like given that we couldn't answer them in time to bring them here, but then I would like to ask from you two things mainly. The first one is we've been getting very few questions in English. Like most of the questions that we see on the FastStore beta regarding the FastStore are still in Portuguese. And I mean, we bring them here, we can answer them here, but like, it would be awesome. It would be great if we had more English questions. So please try to make that take that like extra step to write your question in English. It helps us a lot, and it's also good because more people can read it and more people can find the answers and everything. Especially like as we grow the FastStore and more people start to use it, more developers that are not from Brazil. So like they're just gonna find a bunch of questions and answers in Portuguese, and then we'll probably just have to come back to them and then answer them in English again. So please try. Like I know that it takes it's a bigger effort, right? But I mean, it would be really great if you could write more questions in English. Okay. And another one is that please try to provide more context on the questions that you make. Like when you're writing your question, try to put in as much information as possible. Like it's very rare that we look at a question and we wish that okay, he's telling us too much. Like we probably need less. Okay, it's usually the other way around. Like there is a question and then we often have to come back and just ask like, okay, but can you share more details? Like what's the version of this package that you're using? Like what's the store that this is actually running on? Like just try to give us more information so that because it makes it much easier for us to answer your question, because we can answer them faster, right? Because they have more information. So we can, and if you're kind of reporting a bug, please include everything that we need to reproduce that bug. Like, okay, you told us that this scenario is not working, but how can I actually get that like running locally on my machine, reproduce the error, and then try to figure out what is wrong, right? That saves us a lot of time, and then we can get your questions much faster. Okay, so please include as many information as you can, and also try to write more questions and try to answer more questions in English. Okay. Also, there's one more. We need you to answer more of each other's questions as well. Like we want to see more interaction within the community, right? Because so that it's not something that's too much like you make a question and then only us, like only people from VTEX answer you. Okay, we would like to see more interaction between the community, because we know that, well, you're the ones that are actually like using our product on a daily basis. So you probably know the answer to a bunch of the questions that are posted there on the community, or maybe you've ran into the same mistake. That's also useful. Like if you're just telling us, hey, I ran into that same mistake, because then we know that it's happening on more, like with more people and everything. So production like told me earlier that we have some swag to give away. So some notebooks, t-shirts, yes, like all those kind of nice things. Some water bottles, some I don't know if those backpacks as well, but I don't know, maybe that's a possibility. Yes, that's way more likely. Some planners, some notebooks. So we have all of that swag, right, from VTEX. Socks. The socks are awesome, by the way. I have quite a few. But anyway, so we have a lot of this swag from VTEX, and we actually got like the green light to give it away to some members of the community. Okay. But we're not just like gonna give free stuff to people. So we're kind of launching a small challenge for you, and like we can see after like who actually wins it. But here's the incentive for you to start answering more questions. Okay, for the person who answers the most questions until the end of June. Okay, so this month you have like 15 days at least. We'll send you some VTEX swag. Okay, so some of those things that you saw a few seconds ago, we'll get them shipped to you. We'll get in contact with you. Look into the statistics to actually find the person who answered the most questions, and we'll ship it to you. Okay, so there you go. That's the incentive that you have. So let's see who the winner is by the end of the month. And please like help each other out. It also makes our life much easier. So there you go. Awesome. So and since we're asking you to ask more questions, especially in English, also just a reminder to don't forget to add the office hours tag to your questions on VTEX Community. And then we'll bring them here to the office hours and answer them live. Okay. But also we might bring some more challenges like in the next few office hours. So keep an eye for that. We may launch some challenges that have to do with adding your office hours tag. So I mean, it's better to be safe than sorry, right? So add your tags there. And all right, we'll keep the questions coming. Okay. Awesome. So now it's the last section that we have for today, and it's demo time. Today we have one demo from Daniel, and it's about a new component called Image Gallery. Hey, are you here? Hey, I can't hear you.
I can't hear you anymore. I was hearing.
There you go.
Now I can. Good. So.
Yeah,
hi everyone.
That's fine.
Hi Victor. My name is Daniel. I'm software engineer at VTEX, and I work on the FastStore product. And it's very good to be here again, especially this time since it's my first time presenting a demo. And today I will show you the image gallery component. This component is at it's not yet as a FastStore component, but it's on our starters, get starter and SJS starter, and you can get the code from there and start using on your store. So I will show you how it works now. This is the product details page of our starter, specifically the Next.js starter. And this is the behavior when you have a product that it has only one image. You can see the image occupies the whole space of the image. But when you have a product that has more than one image, you see that the selector appears on the side, and you can select the image you want to be shown here, and you can use this arrow to scroll, and you can see here that when the scroll reaches the end, the arrow disappears, and you can scroll down, and the arrow disappears here. And this component is fully responsive, so when you are on mobile, the selector goes to behind the image, and you can change the image here. You can move the scroll using the arrow, and for when you are on mobile, you can see that I'm clicking the arrow to move, but I can also move the scroll here, just sliding. That means that when you are on mobile, you can just swipe it with your finger instead of clicking the arrow to move the selector here. So you can use your finger to swipe and select with just a touch without clicking these arrows. So this is how the component works. It's fully responsive. It uses you may see that I use a slide here. When I slide, the scroll bar appears. This means that we are not using any slider library on this component, just the scroll behavior of the browser. So it's a lightweight gallery. I will show you now the usage of the image gallery on the code. And if you have any questions, you may ask on the comments that I'll be glad to answer. And now this is the product details page code. I will got a bit of zoom. I think it's good to see. And to use the image gallery, you just need to import it at your page, of your product details page, and the usage is simple like this: image gallery that receives an array of images. So, and that's it. It's working. But how it works? So this is the image gallery component. It's under the components folder, UI, image gallery TSX. And you can see that it's a simple component. There's not too much JavaScript logic here. Under this first file, we have just for when it comes to logic by itself, it just uses a state to select the image and get the selected image, and to set the image that is selected on the gallery. And that's this logic that is used on this component. And when the component has more than one image, as you can see in this line, it handles the image gallery selector components. So here is where the most logic is behind. And we just use JavaScript logic for three things here. That is to move the scroll since our slider is using the browser scroll, we use logic to identify if we need a scroll. Is this function has a scroll? We have logic to move the scroll, and the code here, it already identifies if the container has a scroll is a vertical scroll or horizontal scroll. So it's the same function it's the same function if you use mobile or desktop. And we have also a logic usage of this React function called use in view. This use in view, we added a reference in the first image, and at the last image, we added a reference with this use in view function. So when the last image is in view, the arrow right is gone, and when the first image is in view, the arrow is gone. It's the function responsible to make these arrows appear or disappear dependent on the position. So we just use JavaScript to do these three things. So it's a very lightweight gallery component, and most of the magic happens using CSS. This is our CSS file for the image gallery. It's not so big, but the one for the image gallery selector, it's kind of big because this CSS makes the image fits on its place. It reverts the position. You may see that at the desktop file we have the gallery, the selector before the image, and at the mobile we have the selector after the image. So since we do it using CSS, we don't need to render the gallery at the client side. We can render it using the static generation of GenStack. So it makes it being a lot of so since it's rendered on build time, because there is no logic on it, we can have a more performant page, even when rendering a lot of images and galleries, and the possibility of changing the position on the go. And this is also, I think, regarding to code, this is what I want to show you. And this is also a in progress component. We will build some zoom features on the gallery. We also need to make some style improvements, some accessibility improvements that will be done on the next couple of months. And if you have any improvements to make, any issues to report, feel free to enter on our starters repositories, create an issue, send a pull request that we'll be glad to review it and put on our starters if needed. So I think that's it for the demo, and I hope you have liked it. I think it's a very good component, right?
Yeah, it looks great. It looks great, and it also appears to like function very, very nicely as well. One thing that I found was pretty impressive was that you were able to do that without needing that much JavaScript, right?
Yeah, I think that's the highlight of this component, because at our first time developing this, we used the slider function, and it makes the code very complex and the function that we are importing were very big, so it was increasing the bundle size. So we went to another approach, and using the browser scroll to handle the movements of the selector decreases the complexity a lot. And since it's a browser feature, it's lightweight, so it has good performance.
Yeah. I mean, it's always great when you can use the actual browser APIs, right? Like instead of having to rely on JavaScript and everything. So this component is also like, it doesn't hurt performance as a normal slider would, right? Because sliders are usually pretty heavy and everything, right? So yeah, that's awesome as well. And it can be server-side rendered, right? That's also like
not just server-side rendering, but static rendering. Yeah, because since there is no difference between the rendering between mobile and desktop, it can be handled, because if we had difference on the logic between mobile and desktop, we needed to know beforehand what device the user is getting, and we will needed to handle it on the server side after the user makes the request. But since the handling is the same for mobile and desktop, we can handle it before the user requests it. So it's a static site generation.
And then CSS
it works
just
very
handles
well.
it, right?
Just handles it. I can also
Awesome.
move the if I just make the desktop just decrease the page size on the go, it will be on the right position because it's just CSS.
You can show it.
So here it's on desktop. I can go behind, and enters on the tablet. It's entered on the tablet viewport, and when I decrease it more and more, it goes to mobile, and it keeps working as expected. Right.
And it's not triggering a re-render, right? Because you're not changing anything.
Yes, I did not change anything, so it's just CSS making its magic.
Awesome. That's great. Just finally, like this is on the Next store, right? But it will also be added to the Gatsby store.
No, it's on both stores already. Yeah. But Gatsby
awesome.
and Next store. Yeah.
Awesome. So people can already use it, right? Like,
yeah, people can already use it. We still have some improvements to make, but they will come as soon as we make it done.
Awesome. That's great. So there you go, everyone. Just take a look at one of the starters. If you're using Gatsby, you can take a look at the Gatsby starter, right? Or Next, and then go there, find our component, and maybe you can get maybe use the whole component, or maybe this idea of just using CSS and not relying too much on JavaScript, because it will like if you already have one using JavaScript, like heavily reliant on JavaScript, and maybe even an external library, right, that implements the whole thing. This will probably decrease both your bundle size and like make your site faster. Add the possibility to statically generate pages, because I don't think that would usually be like, you wouldn't usually be able to do that, right? Because most of the libraries that make sliders would probably need to run something like to actually figure out how to handle it and everything, right? So I think that's a big positive. So awesome.
Thanks. It's very good to be here.
Yeah, you're always welcome. I'm sure we'll have you here more times.
Can count on me.
Awesome. Thanks, Daniel. See ya.
Thanks.
Awesome, everyone. So that was our demo. It's been, I don't actually remember how long it's been, but there you go. It's a demo. It's a demo, and it was a great one. I think probably all of you liked it, and this is very useful for you as well. Like, again, if you have maybe already implemented a component like that does pretty much the same thing in your store, but you're using heavy JavaScript and it takes a performance hit and everything, there you go. Now you have an alternative that's like kind of sponsored by us, and it won't hurt your performance and looks great as well. It will be much faster. So there you go. Please try it out. Okay. Awesome. So that's the demo that we had. And now I would like to extend an invite to all of you. If you want to come here and participate in the office hours, maybe show something cool that you made, maybe the store that you were working on just went live and you want to show it to everyone, show the performance scores maybe. We would love to have you here. Like anything that you want to demo that you think that would be useful for more people, or maybe you just even to us, because we love to see the things that you're building using the things that we build. So that's awesome. And how can you do that? You just have to fill in this form on community.vtex/office hours beta. Okay, just go there, fill out the form, tell us what you like what you want to bring here, and we'll get in touch and schedule when can you come here and present on the office hours. Okay, we would love to have you here. Awesome. So that was it, everyone. That was another office hours for the FastStore beta. Thanks to all of you who are here watching. Anyone catching this later, thanks for watching as well. Well, don't forget to like and subscribe. And that's it. See you next week. Bye.